Hello guys, this is Mike from Deathless Gaming, and today we're going to be defending player-made bases. Alright, so tonight I'm going to be talking about how to defend player-made bases. With that said, let's first get into choosing a place for the base, and also how your base parts are going to work, since this will tie into defending your base against the hordes of infantry to come later on. So first off, choosing a place. A good place for a base is a ditch, crater, or a hole. Now, why would we say this? Usually, being higher ground is an advantage, but in this case, it's not. So you're more exposed, usually in higher ground, your angle might not be good enough. And if you are on the side of a mountain, that may allow the enemy to have more cover with tanks and find places to put their sunders. Now, having lower ground is better because the enemy, as they approach, are wide open. And a crater creates a natural bubble that you can add to with walls and, of course, the sky shield. Also, another thing that ties in greatly are old abandoned bases. Old abandoned bases are beautiful. The buildings are already there. You can hide the hive with literally perfect protection inside an old abandoned base. So you just have to add on it. And those are like Eastern Canyon Checkpoint, among others. Also, there are a few of my favorite spots that I have in the comment description. Let's go into base parts. So you really want to know where to put your walls. You got to think of it as a bubble. So first you have your crater, which is where at the bottom of the center crater, you're going to put a hive. Usually I put the hive within a sundeer garage with a shield, and then the hive has its own shield, and that's super secure. On top of that, you probably want another sundered garage to have your actual spawn sundian to provide infantry. So with the hole itself, you're going to surround that with walls, possibly having another, sundered garage that's shielded that allows ants and also friendly infantry to come in. Otherwise, you won't be able to supply your silo inside the base. But other than that, you want a completely tight, basically, wall from providing 360 degrees of cover. Your second most important part is going to be your sky shield. Now, your sky shield is going to be protecting people from air attacks. And to keep your sky shields up, you're probably going to want repair modules, and repair modules will also work out for the walls, and then you'll also have your shield modules, which are extremely useful. So you want to keep those up with the repair modules, since the repair modules will repair everything and the shield modules shield everything. So it's extremely important to have those. Alright, next you're going to be thinking about your AV turrets. So you want to have your AV turrets covering the wide open field. And the reason why is as tanks try to attack your base and shell with artillery, if they are trying to do this in a wide open area without cover, they are going to get pelted. So your goal with your AV turrets is to destroy any tanks that get too far out of cover, and keep tanks that are trying to fire on your base within cover, so that if they do try to fire on your base, they will get blown up. You're kind of thinking about AA, this follows the same kind of rules, except you're thinking about the sky. So you want the AA to basically be able to hit all of its targets effectively when you're placing it. So if a galaxy is coming in, it shouldn't have any cover to hide under when it's trying to drop infantry, so that you can just basically blow it up. Also, use the AI module, but use it also sparingly. So I wouldn't recommend using the AI module then locking all your turrets, because if you think about it, that's useful in lower pop, mid pop fights. But let's say you have like multiple galaxies coming in, or you've got lots of Reavers in the area, or ESFs, and a galaxy's coming in, your AI module won't prioritize the galaxy, since we know that's going to drop infantry. It's going to go after the Reavers like an idiot. So you always want humans, especially with AV turrets. Don't ever have the AV turrets automated. And then one final thing when you're creating a base, make sure you're creating choke points. So if there's a point that's insecure, make sure you make it clear to the attacking players. Now, you want to say, wait, why would we provide a tiny, really tiny entrance for enemy players? Well, you can basically have your infantry lock down on that entrance and farming that choke point. Much like the game developers designed choke points in their own bases for our enjoyment, you're going to be designing your own choke points so that Maxis can basically mow down anybody trying to come in, instead of basically the enemy taking down a wall and your entire base falling. Also, with that said, let's get into what type of loadouts you want. You want close combat weapons. So, when you're dealing with incoming attackers, that's shotguns, high damage in a close area. And then you also want snipers so that they'll be able to shoot anybody coming across this wide open area. So, snipers are good for basically picking off the infantry that are assaulting your bases at range. And then you also want to have a good amount of heavies that have AV tank weapons, and also engineers that have AV tank weapons to help out those AV turrets to bring down those tanks. Because your tanks are either going to take down the walls or they're going to take down the turrets. Both things are very bad. Let's get into repairing. Alright, so make sure you're an engineer and you're repairing constantly. Repair the modules especially. The repair modules are very valuable, and also the shield modules. The skywall, once that goes down, is critical, so you gotta keep those up. Another thing is the AV turrets. The AV turrets are critical. They keep your base walls from falling. Yes, repair your base walls, but what's gonna be shooting your base walls are the tanks. And what's gonna be shooting the tanks is the AV turrets. So make sure your AV turrets are up. And I've stressed that in my taking bases guide. You want to take down the AV turrets because those are the biggest threat to keep you from getting in the base. So you're defending the base, keep those AV turrets up. They literally destroy everything. So when you're repairing, make sure you're prioritizing, thinking this is what I should repair, this is what I shouldn't. If an AV turret's about to fall, help it out. If a wall's about to fall, help it out. But repair modules will help you repair everything, so you won't have to take all the load. Multiple repair modules really help, and the shield modules also help. But the moment modules, walls, AV turrets, AA turrets, or anything else starts going down, that's when you start to have problems and your base begins to fall. So really, if you get the right situation, if you get the right team, and a well-built base, bases can stand out for hours or possibly till the continent's locked. And I have seen it. So really, you need first some pop in it, as imagined, because you're going to be most likely, if it's a very good base, be taking a 96 plus or 48 plus fight against you. So you have to have the pop to do it. But if you have the pop of the amount of infantry and the right people doing the right things, such as repairing constantly and people shooting all the infantry, keeping them from getting into the base, you're pretty much golden. One more thing I want to add is you want to have friendly tanks in the area. That really helps to have them. Sometimes you may be cut off from getting friendly tanks, but having friendly tanks really helps in defending your base. They can keep anti-vehicle tanks can keep the vehicles away, and anti-infantry tanks such as the Lightning can keep infantry from flooding your base. So it's also important to have some tanks surrounding outside the base. This helps a great ton. That's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed my guide. There is a lot to go over in here. Hopefully I went over the general idea of how the base works, what you should be doing to help the base continue, how you should be building your bases, and basically everything about defending a base. Like, subscribe, comment. That's it. This is Mike from Deathless Gaming, telling Planetside 2 to stay classy. Stay classy.
Enemy gunship.
One's looking at us.
Enemy gunship in the area.
Let's look back. He doesn't realize the mistake was made.
Got a visual on a hostile Reaver. Reaver in the area. Bomber Reaver spot.
Hostile
Enemy
flyer to
Reaver
the right.
ID. Got a visual on a hostile Reaver. That's a tail, so there you are.